following is a presentation of the Chicago Bears Network and ChicagoBears.com. Download the Chicago Bears official mobile app for up-to-the-minute Bears content every day. And now, welcome to Bears All Access, your all-access pass into Chicago Bears football. Bears All Access is brought to you by IGS Energy and sponsored by CDW, Miller Lite, and Comcast.
Hi, everyone. We've got another action-packed hour to talk about Bears football with you, Zach Zaidman, joined by 85 Bear Tom Thayer and former Bears quarterback Jim Miller. And let's not waste any time. Joining us now on the program is the new head coach of the Chicago Bears, Matt Nagy. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. And I guess let's start out with some of the big moves that you've made in the last week and a half, including getting your coordinators in place. How did you go about the process of bringing
It's been a good time. We're trying to get this thing going with the coaches and just really focusing in on getting good people that know how to coach football. And so that's been the biggest challenge. And so far, it's been working out pretty well.
Matt, take us through what you like about.
First of all, obviously, when I went through the process here, one of the biggest hires for me and making sure things could work out the right way and go through it and do it the right way is taking care of the defensive side of the ball with Coach Fangio. And so, what a successful defense last year that he ran, and those guys did such a great job. So that was important to just kind of sit down with him, get to meet him as a person, and listen to his philosophy, kind of explain my philosophy, see if it works, and it did. We had a great conversation. I just have a world of respect for Coach, and really excited for that part of it. As far as Mark Helfrich, here's a guy where he's been in the college world, and it's a little bit different than in this league, but I was really intrigued by the stuff that they do out there. I was intrigued talking to Mark, just some of our philosophies, and him obviously knowing what we do offensively, and being able to kind of get to a point to where we can mesh some things together and see how it works. So it's been a really neat transition for him. It's been great for me kind of learning more about him and what they do and what they did at Oregon and his philosophy and his career. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then, Chris Tabor, of course, special teams coordinator, has been a guy that I've had a relationship to previously, but have had a lot of good friends and coaches and colleagues say such great things about him as a coach and as a person. And so the dynamics of having those three guys, they were all really number one on my board throughout, and to be able to get all three of those guys is really just an awesome feeling, and everyone's just so excited.
Hey, Coach, this is Tom Thayer. I'm a former offensive lineman with the Bears. I haven't had a chance to meet you yet, but I do have a question about the quarterback position because I'm really intrigued about all the success.
So I think the biggest thing is really the anticipation. In that league, the field's so much smaller, so you have to be able to anticipate and make those throws in tight windows. And so just knowing where to go with the football, understanding the dynamics of the different routes that guys are running, and then you're in that league, you're throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game, and so there's a lot of chances for mistakes. And so if there are mistakes, how do you bounce back from them? So, and then of course I think a little bit of the red zone too. You get down there in the red zone, and there's a lot of guys in that small area. So it really there's some things that translate to it, but I would say number one, really for a quarterback position, is that anticipation part of the game.
Hey, Coach, Jim Miller here. Good to talk to you again. And
I just want
to I'm doing great. Well, good. I just want to piggyback off what Tom's saying, and it's great because you have played that position and probably have learned a lot at that position. But what was it when you head on and you start coaching with Andy Reid or great guys like Brad Childress and said, that's a good point. I wish I knew that earlier in my playing career, and how you can really help out a young Mitchell Trubisky to maybe look at some things a little bit different in terms of some good coaching points.
Well, just having him understand. Really, honestly, how to be a quarterback during the season, and there's so many parts of that go into it. So whether it's the beginning of training camp, whether it's during the regular season, what you're doing in the classroom, outside of the classroom, understanding the whys of what to get to. Here's two guys that you just mentioned, in Coach Reed and Brad Childress, that have seen a lot of different quarterbacks come through, and there's a lot of different mentalities and different characteristics that these guys have. And so how do you balance those guys? So obviously knowing Mitch and knowing how he is as a person and his DNA, for the little bit of time that I knew him from the combine last year in our sit down, it's really intriguing to know that you have a guy here. Here's a guy that's just ready to be really molded into what you want him to be. So there's so many different aspects of that quarterback position, but one of the biggest parts to me really starts behind the scenes when no one sees it, and that's in the classroom. How do you watch tape? What are you watching? Why are you watching it? And then how are you going to translate that into OTAs? And what are you going to get better at? Setting goals. How are you going to take coaching, criticism, and then taking that into training camp? And this is going to be a long process. This isn't going to happen overnight. But when you have a guy that's willing to be coachable, and you have a staff that's wanting to get the best out of this guy, it's really something for all of us to look forward to. So there's going to be a lot that goes into it. But those are two key ingredients that you need, and we have that, and that's the best part about it all.
Matt, appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Get back to work. There's a lot to do.
Yeah, there is. Thanks a lot, guys. Y'all take care.
All right,
you got it.
Coach.
Matt Nagy, the new head coach of the Chicago Bears, spending some time with us. A lot of things that we learned during that interview we'll discuss next. You can join us at 312-644-6767. Zach Zabin, Tom Thayer, Jim Miller with you. Bears All Access, brought to you by IGS Energy on Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score.